Tonight, the cost of living storm for London's hospitality sector. Also on the programme, Extinction Rebellion are back. Good evening. We've already seen just how much our bills will skyrocket as a result of the cost of living crisis. But tonight, ITV News can reveal just how hard Londoners who work in hospitality or who eat out in the capital could be hit if the price of goods, services and VAT continue to rise. Well, the warning comes from the owner of one of London's leading restaurants, who said the cost of a meal there will double for customers by next year if things don't improve. Another warning too from Hospitality UK. They claim as many London businesses may go under in the next 12 months, as did during the entire pandemic. Martin Stew has the story. The Cost of Living Day was also used to highlight another message when critical oil terminals across London and Essex were blocked by protesters from Extinction Rebellion. More than 27 people have so far been arrested in demonstrations in London and Essex, where people glued themselves to roads and blocked crucial highways. All are calling for the government to stop expanding oil and gas production and say more mass environmental protests are coming to London next week. Antoine Allen reports. There will, of course, be more on how the cost of living crisis will be felt right across the country when ITV News continues at 6:30. Here's a look at what's happening with Charlene. Well, next from us, in the wake of Sarah Everard's murder, the Metropolitan Police has been trying hard to restore public trust. But today, the force's image took another hammering when two officers were held answerable to the laws they should be implementing. One of them admitted secretly filming a woman while she was trying on clothes in a Primark store and keeping more than 1,000 indecent images of children, while the other was charged with a sexual offence in public. Well, Callum Watkinson is at New Scotland Yard for us this evening. Callum, some really harrowing detail from both incidents. Case. Well, the Met Police have begun excavating a farm in Hertfordshire to search for the remains of Muriel Mackay. Muriel was next to a Second World War veteran with dementia who was forced out of his care home during the pandemic. In 2020, Merton Council stopped paying for part of John Lambert's care, leaving his family to use savings and state pension to pay to keep him where he was comfortable. Eventually, they ran out of money and John had to move into his daughter's flat in Teddington. The council have now apologised and refunded the Lamberts more than £45,000, but they are worried there may be other families going through the same thing. Sam Holder reports. Still to come. But first, the ancient Gorn Wood in Lewisham is rich with history but filled with rubbish. Tonight, a community group near the site has accused the owners of deliberate dereliction, which they believe is a strategy to get permission to build properties there in the future. But locals want the extremely rare space to be brought back to life so families can enjoy it for generations to come. Sally Williams has been to find out more. Well, we contacted the owners and they said they had no plans to sell or dispose of the property, but would keep in mind the interest expressed by Lewisham Council and the Brockley community if plans changed in the future. Lord Blunkett had to apologise after accidentally declaring a former politician dead during a speech in the House of Lords today. The Labour... Now, our guests tonight are the co-authors of a new novel that's been turning heads in Hollywood. A London husband and wife duo who go by the pen name Ellery Lloyd. We get to meet them. And we're going to get to what the book is about in just a moment, but we've got to address Reese Witherspoon there, because to get the backing of someone like her, she's got, what, 27 million followers on Instagram? Yes. That's a lot. Why does she like it so much?
She called
Lucy Island in Essex.
Now tell me about the
fictional version of it. But this, it kind of is a celebrity hangout, that island, in reality, isn't it? Why did you decide to pick that venue for the book?
It's, well,
water come up the tide, so you get kind of trapped on the island, don't you?
Yeah, you can do.
That's my limited knowledge about it. Let's just talk about the book itself. And it's been described as deliciously dark and devious, as addictive as Instagram, which is pretty good. But I want to ask you, it's some people's idea of a nightmare. Not mine, I'm not saying it's mine, but...
It's fun, you know, this is our second...
You've got 500 more words of novel that have been done by the time you come out, so it's great. But we...
Novel together. Yes. What's in the pipeline then? What's next?
TV has been optioned.
It's about what TV show, where it's going to happen in Hollywood or whatever, right? Because we would be thrilled to know. But for the moment, congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
Colette, Paul, thank you. Well, next tonight, The war in Ukraine continues, and so does a refugee crisis, as millions have already been forced to leave the country. Well, children at Queen's Manor Primary School in Fulham are raising money, walking the equivalent of the distance between their school and Freedom Square in Kharkiv in Ukraine. That is 2,000 miles in total. Today, they've been walking in the blue and yellow colours of the Ukrainian flag. Carolyn Sim went to see them in action. The snow and cold weather has certainly not been expected, has it? But our conditions expect to improve this weekend. Here's James with the weather. And finally, it was shut 2 years ago because of the pandemic and has been sitting unused and unseen ever since. But this weekend, an ancient site, which was discovered in 1848, will open its doors once again as London's only accessible Roman domestic house. Helen Keenan went for a look. And that is it. We are back with the latest after ITV News at 10. Coming up, Charlene with the ITV Evening News. But from me and the rest of the London team, bye-bye.